Hey, 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 Mr. Turkey here, and I am going to share with you how to convert this pumpkin bars recipe from graphic to traditional. Pumpkin bars recipe conversion to traditional from graphic. Okay, so the first thing you want to do after you go to your Google Classroom assignment page is open up this PDF. A PDF, as you remember, is a printable, downloadable file. Now, with all these conversions, I recommend you start the same way. Split your screen in two. So you have this over here, and for here, we're going to open up a blank document. Right there, and we're going to move this over here. There we go, and here's our PDF. Now, you'll notice your PDF gets really small when you do this. So there's a way we can get around that. That is right here. We can zoom in, or we can zoom out. You have to, unfortunately, you got to play around with it a little bit, but there we go. That makes it take up a full page when we do it that way. So let me move this up here. Let's get rid of this. So here we can move this over. Still a little big, but we can zoom out once. See if that works. Oh, so close. Let's do this one more time. There we go. This should be just perfect. All right. So that's a little bit bigger. So here's my blank document. And first thing I want to do is title it. And that is Pumpkin Bars. You can leave out the grease and flour. Barfs. I spelled it wrong. What a turkey. Pumpkin Bars conversion to traditional from graphic recipe. All right, so there's the title. All right, now first thing we want with any recipe is what the name of the recipe is. So I didn't develop this recipe, so I got off the internet, and for some reason it's called Melissa's Pumpkin Bar Cookies. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this here and paste it here. Melissa's Pumpkin Bar Cookies. Skip down a couple lines. Always my pre-step comes after the title. Now there's two pre-steps here. Copy and paste that. Control V, preheat oven to 350 degrees, grease and flour a 13 by 9 inch pan. Now, traditional recipes always have, let's get this turkey out of the way. There we go. They always have ingredients first. So if you want to, unfortunately, you can copy your ingredients like that if you want to. Or you can type it in, whatever's faster. Okay, all the way down to half a cup of walnuts. Now, it says half a cup of walnuts. Oh, let me point something out. I'm leaving these blank here because I don't want to bore you with me copying and pasting 8 different ingredients there. Just because I leave it blank doesn't mean you leave it blank. I want you to go ahead and do the work, but I don't want to make you watch me do that work. If you have questions about it, I'll be happy to answer, but I think you know how to copy and paste. All right. Now, that being said, this says 1/2 cup of walnuts optional. Now, that doesn't mean it's optional for you to put it on the recipe. That means when you go in the kitchen to make this, you can leave off the walnuts if you want. So it doesn't matter to me if you're allergic to walnuts, your whole family is allergic to walnuts, everybody you know is allergic to walnuts, and you would never use walnuts in a million years. It still goes on the recipe. This is not about you, it's about the recipe. So include the 1/2 cup of walnuts optional there because whoever gets this recipe needs to know that walnuts is a part of it and they can add it if they want to or not. All right, so that being said, let's move on to our steps. This is our first step, and you can number them if you like. Go ahead and number our steps. Step 1, using a stand mixer, paddle attachment mixed together and still smooth. Now, listen very carefully. Many people are going to move on to step 2 and think, okay, I copied and pasted it. That should be good. Well, no. When we convert from one format to another, we have to add things and remove things. And I spelled pumpkin wrong. There you go. Okay. So oftentimes I'll say, well, what are we supposed to mix together until smooth? And people will tell me, well, that's what it says. Well, of course, that's what it says. But there are boxes that tell you what you're going to mix together until smooth. And this box right here is next to these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ingredients. So using a stand mixer with a paddle attachment, mix together eggs, oil, sugar, pumpkin, vanilla until smooth. Now, also please notice that I don't have the measurements here. I don't have 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of oil, yada, yada, yada. No, I do need to specify what it is we're mixing together. But the measurements I don't need because they've already been measured theoretically. You've already measured out all your ingredients. Now you're trying to find out what to do with them. And you have to use words here. The words weren't here. It didn't say eggs, oil, sugar because the box indicates what you're mixing together. There are no boxes here. We've taken away the boxes and replaced them with actual words. So that's going to be a step for you to do is to put those words in there. All right, so that's step 1. Step 2. All right. I don't know if I need to ask this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is that complete for step 2? No, of course it's not. I have to specify here, using words, what it is we're going to sift together. Here, the boxes told us what we're going to sift together. We're going to sift together flour, baking powder, salt, and cinnamon. So we have to say sift together baking. I hope you're seeing a powder. Powder. I hope you're seeing a pattern here. Baking powder. Oops, I left the flour. Sift together, and it's a good idea to leave them in the same order. That's why I want flour before baking powder. Sift together flour, baking powder, salt, and cinnamon in a different bowl. I have so much trouble with this computer. I think I tapped it and the cursor's never moved. This right here, this thing right there moving around, that's called a cursor. You'll hear me refer to it several times. That's a cursor. Fix that. All right. Now we have two bowls. This kind of represents a bowl, and this is a bowl. Now, step 3, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, once again, a lot of people are not understanding this. I don't just say chop. If you turn this in with the word chop there, it's going to be sent back to you with a 0 on it. You need to tell me what the heck it is you're going to chop. Walnuts. You can even put this on it. Again, it needs to be there because it's part of the recipe. Even if you don't ever want to use walnuts in your life, include it in the recipe because it's not about you. Okay. So the next step it says beat until combined. Once again, I don't want to leave that there because it's not complete. I have to go back here and look at the graphic. What am I beating until combined? Well, I'm beating together everything from this bowl and everything from this bowl. That's why the box is twice as big because it goes from here to here. It's kind of like a big bowl that these are going to both go in. Now, you don't need to use a separate bowl unless it doesn't fit. You can use one of those bowls already. It's already dirty. So you can write beat until combined, comma, ingredients from both bowls. Or beat ingredients from both bowls together until combined. Either one of those is fine. Now, step 5. What is step 5? We are going to add something. What are we going to add? Well, let's follow the box. Here's our L shape. We're going to add our chopped walnuts. What are we going to add them to? Whatever is this right here. Because now our box is big. It encompasses this and this. So we're going to add, you don't need to put chopped walnuts. To the bowl. Okay. Now your next step, I'm not going to type this out. Pour into a greased and floured 13 by 9 inch pan. This is a little redundant. I get that. We probably could have left this off. But I put it there because sometimes when I start to bake, I get so carried away with mixing things, I forget to do my pre-steps. So it's just kind of a reminder though. But if you left that off, I wouldn't mark it wrong. Pour into greased and floured 13 by 9 inch pan. So if you just put pour into prepared pan, that would be okay. All right, let's look at day 2. Again, there are more steps here than I've put. That's because I want you to do them. I'm not going to hold your hand through the whole thing. You have to do some steps yourself. Day 2. Okay. Again, we start off with all of our ingredients. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ingredients. Now, something I want to point out to you. This confuses people all the time. You'll notice that here we have let's do this. Let's back up a little bit. I'll get to that in a second. Let's put my first ingredient there. Okay. Then, now I just noticed that last time we did brown sugar cookies, we had a top row of directions for what to do with our cookies, and then our frosting was underneath it. This is a whole separate table for the frosting. So I suppose there could have been a top row that said pumpkin bars from day one, and just rest, 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 and connect with this cell right here. But I don't know that it's absolutely necessary because it's pretty obvious. All right, so anyways, that being said, all my ingredients down to 2 capital T milk or less if needed. Okay, this capital T means tablespoon. Sometimes, to avoid confusion, people put that for tablespoon. This T here is a lowercase t, and it means teaspoon. So you need to make sure you pay close attention to your uppercase and lowercase t's, because that will get sent back to you if you have the wrong kind of T, if I happen to notice it. Okay, also, this is probably one of the most difficult things for people to understand when they're baking. This ingredient says 2 tablespoons of milk or less as needed. When we get to this step here, it says gradually add while beating. Gradually add while beating. Oh, I don't know why it's there twice. Anyway, you can ignore that. There's always an error. That's the error. Maybe I'll fix it before I give it to you. But anyway, gradually add while beating. Beat in just enough to reach desired consistency. Don't use it all unless needed. I can't tell you how many students see this, 2 tablespoons, and just throw it in. This is not like that. You have to gradually add just the right amount. You have to use your brain. You can't just say, oh, 2 tablespoons and throw it in, because then you'll have watery, thin frosting, and it's gross. So pay close attention. That's why I wrote it here, or less as needed. And I also wrote it here, beat in just enough to reach desired consistency. Don't use it all unless needed. Even though that's written, when we go back in the classroom and make this, someone's still going to throw in 2 tablespoons and say, oh, that's what the recipe said. You have to use your brain. Okay. That's a little commentary about the directions. All right, I'll let you finish the rest on your own. Make sure you don't just write the words on your steps. Don't just write the words. Add, because that doesn't make sense. You need to tell me what it is you're adding. All righty. I will go back and fix this PDF, maybe, if it's not too much trouble. I'm not sure. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But anyway, you go ahead and finish up this recipe and turn it in like would any other. See ya.